Copy, reporting.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
My dog went flying through the air over the tree. I don't know how it did it.
From baffling missing 411 cases that leave us questioning reality to the elusive and legendary creatures like Bigfoot, we are here to discuss it all.
By God, if a hand come from the other side of that fence, grab this thing by the head and neck, just one-timed it.
1 o'clock in the morning, I'm awakened by lights. Bright lights. I'm talking about, Josh, the lights were so bright, it looked like daytime, so I thought it was the morning.
There's just something going around, attacking our sheep. And my grandma used to talk about this guy, Ketso, that means, Bigfoot in our language, so.
If you have ever found yourself captivated by the unexplained or intrigued by the mysterious, you are in the right place. Welcome to Mysteries Unknown. What is up, everybody? What's going on, Daniel?
Hey, what's up? Hey, everybody, we're back.
We're back, guys. We're back. Welcome to another live from Mysteries Unknown. I'm your host, Josh. Got my co-host here, Daniel. I'm going to ask, man. I got my coffee. You got your Mountain Dew?
Nope.
No? No
nope,
Mountain
no
Dew
Mountain
today?
Dew.
Oh,
good,
man.
Good. My mama said good quality H2O.
Well, listen, that's probably the best thing you can drink anyway. So that's awesome,
man.
guys. It is, man. It's the best. We got a good show for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking about the Beast of Bray Road. I've got a really good dogman encounter for you guys to listen to from Youngstown, Ohio. Really scary encounter. All things cryptid. We're going to be reading some dogman encounter stories, Bigfoot stuff. You never know what we're going to be doing, but we can promise you a good time. We're going to drink coffee, hang out, and just have some fun. But before we jump into any of that, a couple housekeeping things. Guys, I want to say thanks so much to all the new members that have jumped on, and I appreciate you guys being here. So just so you know, if you've become a member this month, at the end of the month, my wife has created a welcome package. She's really good at that stuff. And so she wanted to do something just to say thank you guys for being here, being part of the community. So at the end of the month, we're going to be sending those out. So if you signed up, don't worry. We'll ship them out at the end of the month. And I'll also email you guys to let you guys know when those are ready to go. So enough about that. Let's get into some stories. How's your week been, man?
Man, my week has been busy. Super busy, and I'm not going to bring the mood down. Like you and I talked, Friday was kind of a rough day for me, and and then yesterday was definitely the worst of it. But yeah, you know what? I just pushed through it, and things are good, and happy to be here. Just let you guys know that hopefully in the next couple of weeks, some things are going to change on my end. I'll have a fancy looking microphone hopefully in front of my face. And I don't know, maybe get a green screen in the back. So I'm just gonna try to do some new things and try to improve my end of this shingding we got going on here.
Dude,
so
you do a good job, man. It wouldn't be the same without you. People love you guys, and these lives just wouldn't be the same because trust me, nobody wants to sit me ramble on for 2 hours by myself. So I'm glad you're here, man. You really helped this channel out, and I love that you're a part. But we got a lot of people in the chat already, so it looks like it's going to be a good one. And I'm glad you made it through this week, man. And I know it was hard for you, but God's faithful, and I'm glad you made it through the week, man.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, man.
but,
Like I said, it's a personal little thing. My little brother, it was the anniversary of him passing away yesterday. He'd have been 50 this year. He passed away when he's 42. But I'll tell you right now, he was a big believer. Now I wouldn't say a believer; he was a knower. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
yeah. Hey, we got
yeah.
our first time
That's a
listener
big deal.
in the chat
Um,
right now, man.
Awesome.
We have
That's great. Well, glad
we
you're
have
here. Welcome aboard.
I think she's from East Tennessee, Marlene Woodrum. And then we have name redacted
Awesome.
and
Welcome.
welcome. And then we got David, and I think
I
we
love
have
that.
Taff in here, and then
Yeah,
Flower Child is
Taff, I
in here.
think was the comment. Yep, she's a new member. So I'm glad the guys are here. Just heads up to where I'm at. We're traveling. My is really spotty. Goes out, Daniel. You're gonna have to carry the show for a minute until I jump back on. So
All right. Yeah, man, I got you, man. I got your 6, brother.
no, you
I
do.
got your 6.
You always do, guys. Hit us up in the comments. I'll just talk to you guys. If you've had an encounter, experience you want to talk about, or the topic that you want to talk about, so we'd be happy to talk about it. So let's see here. Yep, East Tennessee. That's awesome. Let's see, Western Oregon. Got a lot of people from Oregon, Tennessee, all over the place. So it's awesome to have everybody here. But man, this I have to say, guys, every Monday I try to release an episode every single Monday, and this Monday, this is a good one. This is one of the scariest encounters I've ever heard, and you know we're going to talk about Bigfoot in this encounter on Monday. But this gentleman had some kind of an encounter that he really can't explain, but he lost about 3 to 5 hours of time. So you guys don't want to miss it. It's going to be great. So anyways, I'm excited to drop that. So about 11 o'clock, 11:30, I drop an episode every single Monday. So it's going to be good. But
I had a similar experience losing a block of time when I was. Well, it's crazy, and I kind of figured out. We did some backtrack. I kind of figured out what had happened. I was blackout drunk. I was partying in Germany.
Well, that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. So, well, listen, that's not so scary. Well, it could be scary. So, don't be doing that, guys. Don't be calling up on the show trying to tell me that you've had time disappear when you're doing that. So.
No, but I will tell you, I other than that, in both times that I have had a period of time that I've lost, have been in the military. And again, the first time when I was in Germany, I was, again, you guys, I was partying it up in Cologne, Germany. I had a great time there, but I wasn't really scared about that one. But the scariest time, I lost probably about 45 minutes of time where I have no idea what had happened, and that happened at FE Warren Air Force Base. And when I get my other channel up and going, because you had made a promise that you're not going to talk about certain things here on your channel, but on my channel, I'm going to, and I'll dip into that story. So that was a pretty crazy story. So
wow. Well, that'll be I'm excited for you to get your channel up and going. And when he does, guys, we'll plug it. We'll make sure you guys know how to find him. It's going to be really good. That encounter Monday reminded me of you so much because the gentleman was in the military. He was military police. Yeah. So I really, it made me think about you because of that. But it's going to be a good one. So we got a lot more comments here. Boy, I mean, there's a lot of comments already.
Well, we have a new member, and I think she's a new member from maybe another. Yeah, right there, Flower Child Deb.
Yeah.
I don't know if she joined today. I didn't see anything pop up, but I think she might have joined in the last, since the last live. So,
you actually, Deb, you sent me an email. I haven't got a chance to reply to that yet, but thanks for being a member. She's very active in the comments and stuff. So excited that you're here. Name redacted. That is such a cool name. I love that. Now, is
that like really? Is that really his name? Or is there a way you can redact your screen name?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. Either way, it's pretty cool. But yeah, okay. She said she joined yesterday, so glad you're here.
Awesome.
Glad you joined. We're excited to have you guys here. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipe, guys. Like a lot of neat stuff happening. But man, let's jump into this encounter.
Sure.
With the Beast from Bray Road. This has been, not very far from what's in Wisconsin. So, I mean, that's closer to you than me. But pretty scary stuff, man. There's a lot of information. That's the problem with this stuff. There is a lot of different information out there. So we always try our best, guys. We're not trying to prove or disprove anything. We just give you guys the information we find and let you guys kind of come to your own conclusion. But it's a pretty scary encounter. So why don't you tell us what you found out, man?
Well, I mean, this is just pretty much just the basic of what the Beast of Bray Road is, in case anybody has not seen it. This is a very well documented incident or case or cryptid. It goes back to the mid to late 30s. And I'm constantly looking for new stuff. So we may revisit this, the Beast of Bray Road, in a maybe a future live where I can get into more information, and I'm going to be trying to reach out to somebody who has firsthand accounts like video, pictures. So I'm just going to kind of keep this person. Yep. I'm trying to keep this person's name on the down low for right now. I'm going to try to reach out to this person and see if I can maybe set up an interview for you to do.
That'd be good, man.
And then also after this, I have I got an email from one of our listeners, and he doesn't really want to come on film. He doesn't want to come on camera, and he asked if I could relay this to him, to our fans, and I'll definitely read it. I have changed the name of the location. I'm not going to mention the person's name. Again, from talking with him on the phone and through chat, through Messenger, through email, he's a very private individual. Doesn't really want to get a lot of stuff out there any more than already is. He's very, very protective of the area that this happened in, because this is pretty much a childhood area where he grew up in, with him and his family. So I'm going to honor his request, and after we get done in the Bray Road, discuss some of that, we'll jump into that one.
That sounds good, guys, and that brings up a good point. If you've got something you want to send us, and you don't want to come on the show, but you have an encounter you would like for us to read during a live or something, make sure to email us. The email address is going at the bottom here. It's mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. Do our very best to get back to everybody. Things have been pretty crazy lately. But we will get back to you guys. So send us your encounters. We'll talk about them on the show. So, all right, man, let's do it.
And also, anybody in the chat, if you can, share this link. As we're going right now, share to people people that believe, people who are interested, people who are curious. Let's get some viewers in here, and let's have a good time, guys. This is a party for us, man. We have a great time doing this. We love interacting with you guys. So.
Yeah, it's
so
fun.
without further ado, here we go. The Beast of Bray Road is a name given to a wolf-like creature reported to have been witnessed or near Elkhorn, Walsworth County, Wisconsin. I know where Elkhorn is. I have driven through Elkhorn. The creature has become a part of Wisconsin folklore and has been has been the subject of multiple books, documentaries, and a 2005 horror film. Looking at some information that I've got, and this isn't from what I'm reading, I saw an interview with an individual who actually saw this beast again 2021. So a sighting has been recent, as a few years ago. So the Beast of Bray Road is often described by alleged witnesses as being between 6 feet and 7 feet tall, with a humanoid-style body covered in fur or hair, and with a head that resembles a wolf or a large dog. It has large glowing red or orange eyes. It is reported to have been seen moving as both a quadruped, so down on all fours, and bipedal. And some reports have described it more closely as resembling the traditional werewolf or possible Bigfoot. The creature was allegedly first sighted in 1936 on the grounds of the St. uh, Coletta School for Exceptional Children in rural Jefferson. In the 1980s, several alleged witnesses reported the beast had made contact with their vehicles, leaving long, deep scratch marks on the doors and trunks of the vehicle. Let me stop right there. If you're driving down this road and somehow you see it and it's made contact with the side of your car or the trunk, that tells me that it's chasing you down. If it's got marks on the trunk of your car, it is chasing you down and it's trying to pull itself up on your car. Yeah, guys,
Not good.
trade in your 4 cylinders, trade in some of your older electric cars. Don't even go for a V6 unless it's turbocharged or supercharged. Get a good old V8, and that way you can leave it in the dust.
And stay prayed up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One witness stated that she hit something while crossing Bray Road. Upon exiting her vehicle to determine what she had hit, supposedly a large wolf-like creature with red eyes chased her back into her car, leaving claw marks in the rear passenger door. Sightings have also been reported during daylight hours, with several witnesses stating that they observed an unusually large wolf-like creature running on all fours through cornfields. One stated the creature was in pursuit of a deer. Now, there's been other reports of certain things going on in and around this area. One of them is animal mutilations. They've been reported in the area around Bray Road with animal remains, including deer and livestock, partially eaten with specific organs removed from the animal carcass. Other witnesses reported driving down Bray Road late one night and observed an unusually large wolf-like creature eating an animal which had been hit by a car on the side of the road. The creature reportedly ran into the woods as the eyewitnesses approached it in their vehicle. In February 2018 and July of 2020, alleged witnesses reported observing a large hair-covered upright creature in Spring Prairie and Lyons, both within Walworth County. I know where both those places are too. But a number of misidentified animals based on theory have been proposed. So when people say they're seeing this creature, they're thinking, okay, you've simply seen a gray wolf or maybe a larger dog, such as a Great Pyrenees or Newfoundland. While not common with the southern part of the states, wolves are occasionally found in Walworth County and nearby areas. It is also possible that hoaxes and mass hysterias have been caused by falsehoods and other sightings of normal creatures to all be artificially placed under the same label. Others have theorized that the creature may be an American black bear suffering from mange. Like wolves, black bears have been sighted in Walworth County. And that's all I have. So we can kind of discuss some of these things on here. Let me talk about some of the misidentified. For a moment. Great Pyrenees. Okay, Great Pyrenees are giant white dogs. They're huge. I have friends of mine that have had multiple Great Pyrenees, 2 and 3 at a time. Okay. Number one, could they be 6 to 7 feet tall? Yeah, if they stand up on their hind legs, very possible, but not likely. Newfoundlands, however you want to say it, those are huge dogs.
Big.
But, I mean, they don't have the bulk that this animal would have. That's my opinion. Then you have like your elk hound and things like that, that are giant dogs as well. But again, they don't have that girth. They don't have that bulk that this animal is doing. And then on another thing, they don't walk or run on 2 legs. Everybody here in our chat, anybody who watches later on knows dogs do not run on their hind legs. If a dog is,
Mm-mm.
especially ones that perform, if they're on their hind legs, they hop. They don't
Yeah.
have the ability to put one leg, 1 foot, 1 paw in front of the other and go in a forward motion while walking on 2 feet on their back legs. It's more of a hop. Now I have seen them do it on their front paws. It's just their back. I believe their rear paws. I mean their rear legs, hips, whatever, just are not designed to move like that.
Mm-mm. No, they can't move that way. You know, I've heard and studied some of that and talk about how you can misidentify something, and it does happen. I mean, I know that not every encounter that people have is going to be a cryptid or a Bigfoot, right? People do sometimes see things that are wrong, but I don't think in that account, man, I don't think it's any of those things because, you know, what you talked about and there's just a lot of evidence there, especially going back that far, man. Like, you know, I mean, we weren't there, but that's pretty scary. That's a really scary encounter that has just been going on forever. It's really sad that lady passed away. What was her name again?
Oh man, you're gonna put me on the spot.
I know, man. Let me
How
look.
dare you, sir?
Help us out in the comments if you guys know.
Linda Godfrey. Linda
That's
Godfrey.
Yeah.
Um,
I
she
would have
was
loved to interview her.
Oh, well, I mean, one of the interviews that I was watching, the individual who was being interviewed actually had met Linda Godfrey. She had come out to this person's property. Linda Godfrey was an investigative reporter, an author.
She was amazing. Yeah.
She was. I mean, unfortunately she passed. Exactly, the godmother of Dogman, name redacted. I feel kind of bad, you know, that I didn't really get into this, you know, sooner than I have now. But I'm trying to get everything that I can just to read what she's put out there. Yeah, she definitely. If it wasn't for her, I don't think that this and other cryptids would have really been put out to the forefront, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
No, she kind of, you know, paved the way for other people to come forward and talk about it. You know, if anything, because, you know, people are they're scared to talk about these things, and which I understand. Like it's what do you do with it? It's something that's not supposed to be there, but yet again, it's there. And if you talk about it, especially back then, people look at you like you're crazy, and so that's kind of the thing that, you know, she was brave enough to cover that and talk about it and kind of make it a little bit more mainstream. So,
yeah.
But we got a lot of people commenting. Let's see, name redacted says Homeland Security's HSI department once called them government assets during Joe Barger's claim. You know, I think, and my wife has this opinion. She thinks that it's definitely, you know, something to do with the government, that they've kind of manipulated these animals or done whatever with, especially with Dogman. And I can kind of see how that could be to a certain extent, but I don't know, man. It's pretty scary rabbit hole. We start going down this thing, and it gets pretty scary. So Mr. Duffy's here, man. What's up, Mr. Duffy? Glad to see you, man.
Hey, name redacted. Your picture, your profile picture, leads me to think certain things, my friend. So, yes, sir. I need to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, you guys need to hook up. So Mr. Duffy says, "Oh yeah, I've heard of the black SUV showing up within an hour of one of these dogman creatures getting shot." Man, you know, I will say this, that I've got a family member of mine that lives really close to an interstate. And he was sitting on his front porch one day, and he can see the interstate, and this big black cat crossed the road. Massive black cat. Got hit by an 18-wheeler. Was on the side of the road, and he went down there to get this thing. And within 5 minutes, there was some government vehicles pulled up and took this thing off, right? Because we're not supposed to have them here, you know, in Arkansas. But if they're doing that for a big cat, you know, I could see them doing that stuff for something like Dogman. So for sure. So yeah. But I hope everybody's doing good tonight. Also, just a couple housekeeping things. I know that we got another story coming up. Got a lot of good stuff. We have a really long encounter that we're going to go into about Dogman. I got some audio to play for you guys of an interview that was done, and we're just going to talk about that later on in the show. So you want to make sure you stick around for that. But if you join as a member this month, the $2.99 tier or above, my wife has created a gift package for you guys just for joining, and we're going to be sending those out at the end of the month. So make sure you do that. If you are not a member, consider being one. It helps us get these shows out here. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, if you're enjoying these. We try to come up with a specific topic on every live that we kind of cover, and you guys seem to really like Dogman, so I'm sure we'll be talking about some Bigfoot encounters as well tonight. But anyways, that being said, man, why don't you kind of lay some foundation about Bo a little bit before you go into what he sent you?
Well, you go and you said his name. Good job. You spilled the beans.
Oh no, I didn't I? Well,
Okay. So I mean, here's the thing. This guy, he kind of reminds me of like a grandpa.
yeah,
Even though he's not much older than me. I mean, he's maybe I'm almost 53, and he's maybe 6 to 8 years older than I am. So he's definitely, I kind of get that vibe from him. Also, on the other hand, he's a good old boy. Oh, hey, speak of the devil, he's in the chat. What's up, Mr. Bo? So I get, he's a good old country boy, and I hope when I read his story, I do it justice. Bo, if you hadn't heard earlier, I have changed the name of the location, and I'm going to do the absolute best I can to bring your story to light. But yeah,
you'll do good.
he's no nonsense. I firmly believe him. I believe he has nothing. He has nothing to gain from this. Like honestly, and I, and we'll get people, and you guys, after you watch this live and after it's been up for a few hours or whatever, just go back every now and again and check and check the comments, because you're gonna see people just dropping bombs on us. And it's okay, you guys. It laughs. I get very protective of Josh. I get very protective of our members, our you guys all in our chat. You're part of our tribe. I get protective of it. And when someone comes in and just starts dropping bombs, I kind of ask questions, kind of see if they're gonna, elaborate a little bit more, because I don't want anybody get trashed on here. Because here's the thing. I am not in your guys' shoes. I haven't walked a mile in your boots. I don't know your story. I don't know your background. All I can do is come at you guys, with open eyes, open ears, and open heart. Listen to what you have to say, process what you have to say, and then, go from there. I'm a very good judge of character. It's just the way I grew up, and it's training that I've had. So.
Yeah, you do good with that, man, and I appreciate the help, because I mean, one thing that we're not going to let happen on this channel is, this is a safe place for people to come on here and share these encounters, and you can have your opinion. If you don't agree with us, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But one thing we're not going to put up with is people being smart alecks or mouthing people and all that. That's not ever going to fly on this channel. So it's getting to the point now where, we get so many comments and it's hard to keep up with all these, but we try our best to kind of navigate that. But we just want you guys to have a safe place to come on here and chat and talk. And if you've had or seen something, we want to know. And so, I appreciate the help with that, Daniel, because it does help, because there's a lot of people commenting, and, I'm really impressed with the people that have joined our tribe and been here and part of my tribe, because they're not, it seems to be a pretty safe community for people to share these stuff. And we just want to keep it that way. So
absolutely. And just being, straightforward with a lot of people on here. If I feel that your comments are harsh and way over, you step way over bounds on things, I'm going to delete your comment. And after I delete your comment, if you continue to do things like that, I'm just going to ban you. Plain and simple. Because again, we've all experienced something at one time or another, and this is your guys' outlet to one, let it out, just know and feel like, hey, there's other people out there that have had some things happen that we can't explain. So we're here to take care of you guys, man. We appreciate you guys showing us.
Yep, that's what it's about. Because I know that when I first shared my encounters, it's just like, you get a mixed bag. Sometimes people will listen to you, but then it's like other people's, always have something to say. So it's nice to have somewhere to help and get that stuff off your chest. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. And, and have fun while we're doing it. We love doing these lives and we have fun while we're doing it. It gives me a chance to hang out with Daniel and with you guys. And so, yeah, we got some cool stuff coming, and we're going to try to get on a schedule eventually with this stuff, but we do them when we can right now. So thanks for being here. A lot of people in the chat, and I'm excited to get into this encounter and go through it. So you ready?
I am. We're gonna read this story. There's 2 accounts.
Okay,
y'all bear with me. Now listen, I moved up here to Minnesota from Tennessee. I have family and kin that live in Tennessee and West Virginia. So it's going to come out. I'm going to let you know right now. Here we go. I was around the age of 6 years old when my grandmother would come spend the night with our family. We lived in central Arkansas. She was in the northwest region of Arkansas near the Ozarks. While my grandmother would stay with us, she would often tell my sister and I stories of the big hairy man. Sitting there listening to my grandmother tell these stories, it would fill my mind with curiosity, and to this day, I think about those stories. Back in 1948, my grandmother had a chicken barn where they raised chickens to sell to farmers in the area. When she visited, she would tell me and my sister all these stories of the big hairy man. In these stories, she would mention that at night they would hear a loud howl. My grandfather would go outside to see what was out there. On multiple occasions, he would see the tall, hairy man, he'd see a tall, animal-like man that would run away at speed out into the country once he scared him off. During this era, Bigfoot terminology was not spoken, but the small country town of northwest Arkansas often spoke of and I quote, a tall, hairy man that many locals saw. There's no doubt my grandparents and the community had indeed experienced the excitement of what we call today Bigfoot, aka the hairy tall man. And that's the first one. Now the second one, well, we'll go ahead and talk about that one if you want.
Yeah. First of all, I gotta say, man, what a great job with that accent. The first time you pulled that on me and I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't know you were from the South, man. What is that? Like, I mean, I knew you were in Tennessee at some point, but man,
I'm telling you, I got family in West Virginia and Tennessee, and
you pulled that right out of the bag, man. That was good. I felt like I was talking to my grandpa. Like, man, that was good. That was good. Good job,
so
man.
I appreciate that. So here's the thing, this happened in 1948. Okay, now this is before the Patterson-Gimlin film. That was what, 1960?
I can say exactly.
Mid to late 60s.
Let me see. I can tell you exactly when.
So that was probably a good 20 years prior.
Wow.
And you think about other stories that you hear of Bigfoot.
67, by the way.
67. So
yeah.
So 67. So 19 years earlier, right?
Yeah.
So, you think about other events, and I've read stories, of seeing the wild man or the old man in the woods or whatnot. Those go back even 100 years easily.
Long time.
Exactly. So we're going to jump into the next one. Ready?
Let's do it, man. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Y'all ready out there?
I think they're ready, man. They're all loving the way you're reading it. So, Bo got a kick out of it and said too funny. So, all right. And then, yeah, we're ready, man.
I got a little tongue tied at the end, but here we go. I'll try to do this one even more seamless. Here we go. It was 1978, and I was around 15 years old, going out coon hunting in central Arkansas with my cousin and our 4 hunting dogs. in the beautiful Arkansas river bottoms. Growing up in the South, my cousin and I spent many nights camping, hunting, fishing, and enjoying the outdoors. One night, we loaded up the truck and arrived at a spot we would typically park at and unload the dogs. We had about a half a mile walk to Rancher's Creek, where we would often set up a camp to hunt for the night. As we were out walking along the creek, the dogs began quickly raging and began chasing what we had thought was a coon. 10 minutes into following the dogs, as they trailed what we believed again was a coon, everything around us went quiet. Them dogs instantly stopped barking and were more silent than Mother Nature herself before the awakening of a storm. I turned to my cousin and I asked, what could have stopped them dogs in their paths? And he just turned and looked at me puzzled. A few minutes went by. Then we heard the dogs come running back towards us. Normally, them dogs be making all kinds of noise as they returned to us and would stop and stay right by us when they got to us. Not this time. Something was off. There was no barking, no yelping, no whimpering as they returned. As they came into view, we could see that they were running with everything they had in them. And as they got closer to my cousin and me, they just kept on by us, racing back towards the truck. Suddenly, behind the dogs, we heard this loud movement following in their paths. The closest animal I can think of compared to would be like a stern growl of a bull. In the near distance, we could vividly see tree limbs breaking as the creature made its way through the path towards us. Nightfall had quickly come upon us. A bright harvest moon cast a beam of light against Rancher's Creek. The moon was so bright that we could see the trees jerking wildly as the unseen creature continued to make his way towards us through the woods. We quickly realized that this was no coon, and unlike any animal we'd ever encountered before. Looking at each other, we agreed, we'd better head back to the truck. That's when a fast-paced walk quickly turned into a run as the creature moved faster towards us, and the sounds were clearer and clearer. As we got back to the truck, them dogs had found themselves already in the back of the bed of the truck and helped themselves into their own crates. Jumping into the cab, we started the truck and tore out of there as fast as that truck could take us. To this day, even though my cousin nor I saw what was chasing us, there was no doubt in my mind that we stumbled upon a Bigfoot while hunting Rancher's Creek in central Arkansas back in 1978.
I think you're right, man. I think they definitely ran into the big guy for sure. For them dogs to do that, man, for them dogs to take off like that, that had to be something. So, yeah. Great job again, by the way.
Appreciate that. I've been around coon dogs, and those dogs are stubborn.
Mhm.
Those dogs, they will stay. If they think they treat a coon, they're going to stay at that tree until their owners are coming. And
Yeah, they're
then
not gonna
even
let go.
more so, I mean, you try to pull the dogs back, they're still wanting to try to climb up that tree. So
Yeah.
for dogs
Yeah.
like that to come tearing back, one, not baying, not howling, not barking, not crying, not whimpering, nothing, and then just keep going by like you're not even there. Yeah, something's up with that.
Yeah, definitely something's up with that. That doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I don't know, man. There's everybody associates West Coast with Bigfoot, and they are obviously all over there. But man, we have them here too, and they're all over the place. And a lot of the encounters that get sent to me are from, this part of the country, Tennessee, Texas, those areas. But I don't know, man. They are everywhere, and it kind of makes you wonder if they migrate through cave systems, if that's kind of what they do, or if they are, territorial to one specific area. But I don't know, man. But I'm glad that you guys send these stories to us for us to read, because we enjoy doing that and getting that out. Because sometimes it's hard to talk about this stuff and come on and be interviewed. I get that, and some people don't want to do that. And so if you guys have an encounter and you want to share it, you can send it to us. We'll gladly read it and get it on there. So happy to do that. But Christopher is in the house. Good evening, guys. I'm running a little late, but better late than never. Yep, we're glad you're here, man. We are glad that you are here. So if you guys just hopping on, we're going to be talking about Bigfoot, cryptoids, some more dogman stuff. I've got a dogman encounter I'm going to be reading here in just a few. And then we've got one that's really scary. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this encounter from guy's first name is Matt. I cannot remember his last name, but it happened in Youngstown, Ohio. Really, really scary encounter. And so we're going to listen to that together with you guys and just hang out, drink some coffee and water in Daniel's case tonight. But anyways, let's see here. Marlene says we have a Bigfoot in our area, also live by a cemetery. Seems like that happens a lot, man. What do you think that is, Daniel?
Peace and quiet. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, a lot of people believe, and again, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, they're wrong. A lot of people believe that Bigfoot have a supernatural, paranormal, connection.
Yeah.
I mean, some people said they're guardians, just like same thing with dogmen. Dogmen are drawn to the energy, because I've never heard any story of where a dogman has been helpful or not aggressive towards anybody. And again, 9 out of 10 times they're associated because they pop up around a cemetery or something like that.
Yeah.
Sasquatch, on the other hand, I don't hear a lot of stories about them hanging around cemeteries, but you have heard many, many, many stories of where a Sasquatch sighting has been very passive. They haven't been aggressive, but again, there are out there where they are extremely aggressive. They're very grumpy.
Yeah. It seems like the further south you go, the more grumpy they get, and I don't know why that is, but I think and you said it right, like with Bigfoot, it can go either way, right? You're either going to have an okay encounter or you're going to have a really bad one. But if you encounter a dog man, it's just pure bad. There's no good with that. It's just bad. So I'm going to read an encounter that I thought was pretty interesting. And I, this is a website that I pull a lot of stuff off of, but this encounter happened in Sacramento County, California. So I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to do it in the voice that you did it in because I couldn't do that. So I'm already Southern enough. So anyways, Taft the Wanderer says, I blame the humidity for the grumpiness. That is a great point.
Yes.
That is a great point. I love it. Christopher says the story about Matt that you're going to tell, he actually has a channel. His channel is called YouTube, is Planet 412. So make sure to go check him out, guys. A lot of times we like to pull these encounters for you guys to hear, but I think that's it, man. The humidity, it's really bad. It's like today, man. Today was miserable. So, but anyways,
well, you guys, I'll tell you, up here in Minnesota, I'm telling you, they call Minnesota the land of extremes because today it was 91 degrees. Our dew point was 71, and anything over like 60 is just crazy. But then we also have winters where without a wind chill, it's like for a high, it's like -30. It's like 30 below zero. That's without a wind chill.
Yeah, we don't have that here. I mean, we have cold. It gets cold, but we don't have that. So I am thankful for that. But we definitely make it up for it in the summer. But that's definitely bipolar weather, man. So
yes,
yeah. All right, guys, let's jump into this encounter. So this encounter happened in Sacramento County, California. So the encounter I'd like to share is not my own, but that of my mother. She used to tell me stories when I was young about strange things she had experienced in her life. I remember this dogman type of encounter while listening to a story on YouTube. There's not particularly a lot of detail to this encounter, but you may find it interesting and the location interesting. So it happened really close to Sacramento, California in 1953, not far from the state's capital. So her mother says that when she was 12 years old, she was laying on the couch watching television. That's when she noticed a scary dog-looking creature looking at her through her pane window. And back then, man, those windows were pretty thin. So I can imagine having something that close to you, not much to keep you safe. But anyways, the window, let me see. She was watching television and noticed it was looking at her through the window. The window was either on or by the door. I'm unclear of this fact. In any event, the head, she said, must have been around 2 to 2.5 feet above the ground. She covered her face in fright with her pillow. After a minute or so, she snuck a peek, figuring that she was imagining things. She saw that it was gone and she felt a little better. Then she noticed it was now looking at her through another higher window. Its head was now 4 to 4.5 feet above ground. According to her recollection, there was nothing outside the window for a dog to stand on. At that point, she just ran to their room in terror. So you imagine seeing that at 12 years old. They also say that the story goes on. They lived on an American Indian burial ground. So, I mean, that seems to happen a lot, man. You know, and then again, you know, another burial ground, another grave site. So I don't know. And guys, I butchered that story. I'm dyslexic, so you got to forgive me. I'm not near as good as Daniel is about reading these stories. So, anyways, especially with the accent. So,
Oh, you hush.
yeah, you make it sound like you're from the deep South, man.
I'm telling you, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, well, I mean, like I said, my mom always said, you know, she's from West by God, Virginia. You know,
I mean,
so.
yeah. Well, listen, I remember as a kid, my dad's family, they all lived in Ohio, so I'd go up there to visit, and of course, you know, I had the Southern slang, and nobody could understand me, man. I remember they were like, I'd go to order food and they're like, what do you want? But what got me is I would drive around and I'd wave at everybody because it's just what you do here.
Yeah.
And they were like, stop doing that. That was like 16 or 17. Like, you can't do that here. You'll get shot. And I was like, but that's just what we do in the South. We wave at everybody. So anyways, it just, it cracks me up, but nobody can understand my accent. You know, I'd say I want a Coke. And they're like, okay. Like when we say you want a Coke here in the South, you can have Pepsi, you can have Dr. Pepper, you can have whatever, but you say Coke there, it's like, you're going to get a Coke. So yeah, those are some differences, but anyways, thanks for the kind words, guys. I try my best, but you know, it still trips me up sometimes, but anyways, War Chief says that most Bigfoot are not friendly at all. You know, I tend to believe you, man. And he's got a really, really incredible encounter that he sent me, and I'm working on getting him on the show, hopefully for you guys, because it's really, really scary. But, you know, I tend to believe that, man. I don't think that they're your friend at all. I just don't. I think that they are, you know, me, in my opinion, I think they're Nephilim. I think they're part of the fallen angel, Nephilim, something in that world, that realm. And guys, listen, anybody who comes on here and tells me they're an expert, I do not believe there is such thing as an expert when it comes to this. We can have our opinions, but you know, that's mine. That's what I think. And me and Daniel don't always agree on these things. I know he doesn't have that mindset, but I think that's what makes these lives good. So anyways, I wonder if you pulled up a map, how many sightings, dogman sightings there are in correlation to graveyards. I wonder what the percentage is, you know, of those. You know, I've never studied that, but that'd be interesting to find out.
I'll look for that. I really don't know. You think about it.
I don't know. I know there's a map that Harley sent to me, and you can line up missing 411 cases and Bigfoot encounters, and that map overlays like really almost too good. And so, you know, it makes you wonder, but Name Redacted says, Nephilim, you're on to something. The Book of Enoch speaks of them a lot. You know, I definitely think so. I mean, I look at things through the lens of faith, and I could just definitely see that just makes sense to me. But anyways, I think it's probably time to get into this encounter that I've been saving for you guys, and it's, It's not ours. I didn't interview Matt. This is an interview that we pulled, but I think that somebody told me the name of his channel, name redacted, I think. If you want to put it in the comments again so they can find it. But so to lay the premise for this, it's in Youngstown, Ohio. I think he was 14 years old. Hey man, Bigfoot Society is here. What's up, man? Glad to see you. Glad you're here, man. I hope you're doing good, man. Thanks for jumping
What's up, Jeremiah?
on. Always love having him hop on these lives.
Oh, hey, real quick before you start that story, hey, Jeremiah, I watched your podcast about something that just happened to you recently. I think you were with your son. You're out at some type of outing or something like that. You know how to get a hold of Josh. Josh, you got to get Jeremiah on about that story.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'd love to have you on, man. I switched my email up. So if you want to email me, it's mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. But I actually need to talk to you, man. I had an email, and I'm not going to say too much about it, but I had an email sent to me about an encounter. It really kind of tripped me out because they told me that basically they had reached out to you, and there's just some things with it, some questions I've got, and it kind of made me nervous. So I wanted to talk to you. So if you get a chance, man, email me. I'd love to talk to you about that. But and I'd like to talk to you about what happened to you and your son. So I'd love to have you on, man. But so this encounter, to kind of lay the foundation for this, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this, but I think they were about 14 years old. There's a group of these kids that went out to Youngtown, and there was these warehouses. Have you heard it, Daniel?
Yes, it is so. I got to turn my light off for that one.
Yeah, turn your. I'm leaving my light on, but I didn't play the whole thing. It's really long, so I just kind of took a section of it. But man, they have an encounter. There's a pack of dogs that are in the area, and they start hearing these pack of dogs get into it with something, and this thing is just tearing these dogs apart. So I kind of start right after that, and let's just jump into it and listen to this together. So I'm going to leave my lights on, unlike Daniel. He turns his lights off for these. I don't know why, but I'm definitely leaving mine on. So stay with us. Check this out. This is really good.
Pouring out of its mouth. I'm not talking just dripping. I'm talking like the sound of like when you're in an empty building or something and it's raining and you're hearing big drops hitting. The saliva is hitting the concrete as it's walking. And that's a sign that, said to me immediately, it's either going to feed or kill. And that's why it's salivating. And it bares its teeth every once in a while, and you get the glint of this white, and you see the teeth even when its mouth was closed, the top canines were hanging out, and you would get little glints of the bottom ones here that would show. So its teeth definitely hung out of its mouth, even when it wasn't baring the teeth. And it walked by the fire, and you could see immediately jet black, except for I thought that it was maybe a reflection of the fire, but we all agreed later that it had a very light white stripe that went from the back of its neck all the way down to the tail. And that was the only other color that this thing showed other than the eyes. You always hear stories about people that see dogmen in the woods during the day, and they talk about the different colored eyes and blue to black to brown. I don't know what this thing's true eye color was. All we could see was this orange amber color, just literally causing things to light up wherever it looked. So it wasn't eye shine. It was something internal coming out of this thing. And then another thing that really has brought me into believing that these are more than a natural creature, and that there is something supernatural going on, is when it walked by the fire and its front hands, paws, whatever you want to call them, had touched the ground near the fire. Something happened where it only happened with its front left hand, or whatever you want to call it. It basically blinked out. It cloaked for a second, and you could see they see things through it, almost like that Predator effect, And when it put its hand down by the fire, something really strange happened aside from the cloak effect. If you've ever seen video of the sun and the magnetic anomalies and storms that they have on the surface of the sun, where you see, the tubes come out of it and the different shapes and magnetic storms, basically that happened right around its cloaked out paw, and it only happened for about 2-3 seconds, enough that I noticed it and my other buddy noticed it. The other two did not. They were at a different angle, and it had basically just looked around the room. It bared its teeth after it sniffed, and it snapped its head and looked right up at us. It knew exactly where we were. It finally caught our scent, and it looked at us, and it looked up at us, and it bared its teeth, and it growled again, and you felt a vibration. But I truly believe that this half concrete wall that we had in front of us had, if it threw that infrasound at us again, I think that half concrete wall blocked it, because we didn't get sick or felt funny or anything. We felt a little vibration. You felt it. Like, I remember I had I think it was my right hand on the top of the wall at that time, and I felt a little vibration in it, but didn't get sick or anything. So I truly believe that wall blocked whatever, because of the angle of it being down on the first floor, us being on the third, and it threw it at us. I truly think it did. And then it stood up again, and it was almost like, like a comic book pose. It threw its arms out to its sides, and its muscles all clenched, and it looked at us, and it growled, and it looked out to the left, it looked to the right, and it saw the stairs on the wall, and it looked back at us, and I got a sinking feeling in my stomach, because I knew what it was going to do. It dropped back down on all four, and it ran for the stairs. And, like I had told you, it was missing 4 stairs, so we had to kind of hop over and climb the wall to get up, and it jumped over that like it wasn't even there. And it was heading up, very fluid. Its tail, I remember when it ran, you could tell it utilized it kind of like a rudder. So it was kind of moving. When it moved, its tail kind of bent certain ways. Its tail reminded me of a mountain lion or a cougar. Very non-hairy, short hair, very thick. I remember the bones in its legs and its arms being just gigantically thick. And again, that sense of, not only are we looking at something that's not supposed to exist, the size, again, is just so massive, it has to be fake. And again, this is really happening. And when it had stood up, I forgot to mention this, it had stood up near one of those concrete pillars that I had mentioned the building had in all 4 corners. And we had gone back years later. We never went back for years. And we got an idea of how big these pillars were, which gave us an idea of the size estimation of this animal. And when it stood up, it basically width-wise blocked out the pillar. So it was as wide as the pillar, 4 to 5 feet across. And height-wise, the ceilings were probably where, at the sides where there was floor above. It was probably 15 to 18 feet high. I would guesstimate, and my friends guesstimated, it was somewhere between 10 to 12 feet tall. So it stood up. Its ears probably were at least 12 feet at the tip. And again, I've heard people describe sizes of Sasquatch and other cryptids of massive size. And, people will, well, you were kids. Well, we went back as adults. And I'm telling you, we remembered where it stood and it had to be minimum 10 feet. I truly think, again, tips of the ears, 11, 12 feet tall. Now it's heading up the stairs towards us. 2 of my friends are going absolutely ape crap crazy. Running. One is running in circles. The one that I had to grab his mouth. He's screaming bloody murder in circles, just running in circles, going nowhere. And he finally jets for the stairs to take him up to the 4th floor. My other friend runs for the fire escape. Again, you can't go down. So only way is up. And I'm frozen, petrified. My other friend's standing next to me. He just said, I was standing next to you. I didn't know what to do. And it made its way from the first to the second floor in seconds. And then it started to head up from the second floor to the third. And where I was standing, if anybody would have, this thing or anyone would have walked up to the top of the stairs, the first thing it would have met would have been me. And it would have came within 2 feet of me once it got to the top of the stairs. It got to the middle of the stairs, and I started having true belief that this is the day that I'm going to die. I started to think about my family. I thought about my dog, who I loved very much. I thought about, I was getting ready to go into high school to play football at the school, Ursuline High School, a Catholic school, is very big in the sports and athletics as well as academics. And my dad had played there. My whole family had gone there. I was very proud that I was going to be playing football there. And I thought, I'm not going to get to play. All this is going through my head. It's all gone. And we're going to watch each one of us truly be mauled and killed by this creature, and this is the end. I really believe this was the day I was going to die. And it was probably within 6 to 7 feet from me when I looked at it, and it was looking right at me or at my friend. I think it was looking at me because he was behind me, and I would have been, like, again, the first one it got to. And right at that moment, I will always believe this to the day I die, and the sweat's starting again. I believe there was divine intervention. I truly believe it. I'm Catholic. I'm not a great Catholic. I don't go to church a lot. I don't practice as much as I should. But I think that there was divine intervention, because once it hit that 6-7 feet mark from me, where if it would have jumped, it would have been on me, we heard that a train. And whenever a train would come by, we would always get nervous, because if they'd see, us in there or the light from a fire, we'd be in big trouble. They would call the police or whoever, and we'd be in trouble. And we had never, ever had a train go by where they laid on the horn. And it came by, and as soon as it went by the building, be it from the angle the guy that was driving it saw the inside, what was going on, or he just saw the fire, which I seem to think he noticed how bright of a fire we had going in there. He laid on this horn, and this thing stopped right 6 to 7 feet from me, and it looked at me, and it looked back at the opening where you could see the train going by, and we're all screaming bloody murder. Somebody help us, please save us. My other 2 friends are gone. They had, one went up to the roof, the other ran up the stairs. I don't know where he was. My friend and I were screaming, someone help us. And it looked back at us, and it looked back again, and it turned around and started running down. And it took literally, I would say, 1 to 1.5 seconds to get from where it stood 6 to 7 feet from me at the 3/4 mark of that second to third floor step area to the steps of the going from the second to the first. When it got near the fire, you could start to see that it had saliva just pouring out of its mouth. I'm not talking just dripping. I'm talking like the sound of, like, when you're in an empty building or something and it's raining and you're hearing big drops hitting. The saliva's hitting the concrete as it's walking. And that's a sign that, said to me immediately, it's either going to feed or kill, and that's why it's salivating. And it bares its teeth every once in a while, and you get the glint of this white, and you see the teeth, even when its mouth was closed, the top canines were hanging out, and you would get little glints of the bottom ones here that would show. So its teeth definitely hung out of its mouth, even when it wasn't baring the teeth. And it walked by the fire, and you could see immediately jet black, except for, I thought that it was maybe a reflection of the fire, but we all agreed later that it had a very light white stripe that went from the back of its neck all the way down to the tail. And that was the only other color that this thing showed other than the eyes.
Bro.
Nope.
Bro. Yeah, listen, that story goes on for a really long time, and
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to play all of it. You know, you guys need to go to his channel, check it out, listen to it, because it is really, really, really crazy. But man, what a wild story!
Honestly, it is one of the most intense stories. Like I was getting goosebumps just listening to it. You know, and I think what really got to me in the little clip that you played was when he said he started sniffing up around in the air, and it caught scent of him, and it looked up around and it saw him, and then it got down on all fours and took off running towards the steps.
Whew.
I'm telling you right now, y'all can call me what you want, but in my group, I would have pushed him to the ground because I don't have to be the fastest person in the world. I just got to be faster than the person I pushed down. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm telling you, dude. Like, could you imagine being in that situation? But I will tell you another thing too, and a shout out here at Bigfoot Society put the link to the channel to where you guys can go watch that. So thanks for doing that, man. I appreciate that. You guys go check out that. Go show him some love. Subscribe to that channel. Go check that whole story out. It's a long story, but it's one of those that it's one of the scariest ones I've ever heard. And he does sound like a great guy, and so make sure to go check that out. But man, and again, it was like a supernatural intervention. I firmly believe that when you call out on the name of Jesus, that there is power in that name. And, I just think that you are, it's just, that's why I say stay prayed up at the end of every single show. Like I'm not trying to push anything on anybody, but man, it's so important to do that. But yeah, that's pretty scary, man. That's a wild encounter. Let's get back into the chat for a minute, man. I know that there's been a lot of people chatting. We got a new member during that. Let me see here. Janet Wu is the new member. So I appreciate you being here, Janet. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much. And Daniel, you have got to quit leaving me super chats, bro.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think it's a malfunction.
It was not. You do it almost every show. So listen, I appreciate it. I'm just going to go buy coffee with it and put it to good use. I'm going to take me and my wife to get coffee. So
that's what you should do. That's your queen, man. That's your
queen.
It
is. I know she is, but you need to come down sometime and we'll have coffee together. So
I'll drink water or Diet Mountain Dew.
Okay, that'll work.
Or maybe some tea.
Nothing wrong with tea. Nothing wrong with tea.
Like some good old sun tea.
Yes. Let's see here. Renee Chapman says the interview that man did with What Lurks Beneath is awesome. Should give that a watch too. So yeah, I think he's been on a couple of different platforms. And if he just happens to be watching this live, we'd love to have you on here. Love to talk to you. That would be great. Let's see. Everyone has a guardian angel. Oh,
Happy Father's Day to everybody in there as well.
Happy Father's Day to all the amazing fathers out there. Where would this world be without fathers, man? We need fathers more than ever. It's super important. It's super important.
And then row 440 Chi-Town. Hey, what's up? Dead ass. I don't know what you mean by dead ass. Is that like you would be dead ass if you saw something like that happen or one of those monsters chasing you? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm going to try to fight. I'm sorry. I'm old. I can't run that much anymore.
What's you got to lose?
I would fight like the devil behind me.
I mean, you don't have what else are you going to do? Like you just have to.
Yeah.
Christopher's back. He's been in the chat and he's always on these lives, and he brought up a good point. So these creatures literally come from the pits of hell. That's why I hear people refer to them as hellhounds. So
yep.
They're definitely not good. And we had just something happened to me and my wife several years ago, and it just, this thought popped into my head, and it had to be God. It's like, if it's not light, it's dark, and you got to know what you're messing with, and these things are not good. And so, I don't know, man, but I can't imagine being as a kid, being in that situation and seeing something like that. That's why I always ask people, when I interview them on the show, like, how did that affect you? Because like with you, man, with the things you've seen, you will not. What's the one thing you won't do anymore? What do you not do anymore that you used to do?
I won't go deep in the woods anymore.
Exactly.
I just won't.
Why?
I won't go. Well, we'll put it this way: I'll go deep as long as it's a beaten path. As long as there's like a pathway, a walkway, I'll go 100% sure. But I will not go off path anymore. I just won't. It just won't happen.
No, and I think that's the thing is once you understand that these things are real, that they're out there, you're not going to catch me either, you know. But you know, I still will go in the woods. I still love to be out in the woods and explore. But man, I'm like you, man. I'm not going to go out in the deep woods where there's no path, where there's not anything like that. I'm not going to do it. So, and I can imagine Matt doesn't either after that, you know.
No.
And some of these people, man, it takes years of therapy to get through this stuff. And I don't know, man. It's a scary world, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's so weird.
Mr. Duffy, you need to email the show. Like for real.
Yeah,
you've
definitely
piqued my interest just in the last few comments that you've made. Man, I would love to hear what you're talking about. Like for real.
Yeah.
So,
Send me
hello,
an email,
Amanda
man.
Sue. How are you? Amanda, welcome.
Awesome. Hey, should we play the really odd vocalizations of that one guy that we did last time, where he's having a conversation with Bigfoot? You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, if you want to hear, it's Mike Patterson. If you want to hear, he supposedly is having a conversation with Bigfoot, and you guys can do with it what you want. But if you want to hear that, drop a 1 in the comment. Let us know, and if we get enough ones, we'll play that. So let us know if you want to hear that. I know that Daniel's got another Bigfoot story to read. So I'm sorry, Dogman encounter to read. Yeah. So, also
Amanda, you got to email the show too. I've seen a little person. Thanks for the welcome. Now, not saying like Wee Man or some like Brian or Peter Dinklage. Are you talking about what I think you're talking about? Being a little man, a little person. Are you talking about what I think you're talking about? Because I'm telling you right now, if she's talking about what I think, so those guys, 1, they're tricksters, and 2, there's nothing nice about them. They are nasty little things. I'm telling you.
Well, it's just that there's a lot of things in God's universe that we can't explain, and I don't know. It's just it's such a strange world, and that's what happens generally when you get into this and have the encounters and stuff. You go down a rabbit hole, and you end up with less answers and more questions. At least for me, that's what happened. But we got 3 1s. If we'll get 2 more people that give us the 1 in the chat, we'll play that audio for you guys. And if not, we will we'll do it next time. But anyways, let's go ahead, man, and read this other encounter, and we'll come back to this. Bigfoot Society. So we have to play it now. We got to play it now. Okay. So listen, this is really strange. It's really odd. I don't know what to make of it. I don't try to prove or disprove anything, but you guys do with it what you will. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments, but he's supposedly having a conversation with a Bigfoot creature. You can hear the rain in the background. I am no audio engineer, so it sounds like he's legit. Like, it doesn't sound like it's, been messed with a lot, but I'm going to play this, and you guys let me know what you think.
You, my friend.
You.
I miss you, my friend.
Well.
Is that who?
Who?
Who? Is that who? Now, my friend. What is
That is so strange, man.
Nope. No. Last time we played that, people were like, "Oh, it's their dog is."
Yeah.
They're inhaling while they're trying to talk, but there's just some of tones. There's some of the range, and I've watched somebody talk about this specific clip. Is that our vocal cords are not developed the way
No.
that like we can't hit some of the range, some of
Right.
the tones. I mean, yeah, we have people that have deep bass voices, like look at the guy on Oak Ridge Boys, and then we have people that can sing falsetto and all type of stuff. But our vocal range, this exceeds that vocal range in like the lower baritone, you know,
Definitely.
you know. So yeah,
Definitely.
Mr. McDuffie, I'm skeptical as well. I mean,
Same.
I would love to see some type of video with that. I mean, because again, you guys, we're not coming out here and saying, "Hey, this guy was talking to a Bigfoot."
Definitely
It's
not.
just, it's out there, and the way I look at it is, I think it's believable, but I kind of believe it's kind of coincidental that it's only an audio and there's no. I mean,
Right.
if he's
So,
having a conversation with this Bigfoot,
well, not
and to me, it sounds like they know each other. Like
right.
it's been a long time since they've seen each other. That there would be some type of
Yeah.
video
Yeah.
for it. And and you're right. Take from it what you will and leave the rest. Exactly, War Chief. Exactly.
Yep, that's exactly right. And that's all you can do with this stuff. I mean, all we try to do is get this stuff out to you guys, let you do with it what you want to. At the least, it makes you wonder. Like, there's definitely mystery to it, and it's one of those things that it leaves you scratching your head. Like, I don't know, because some of those vocalizations, we're not able to do. The human vocal cords cannot do those things, so it makes you wonder. I don't know. But it's definitely strange and kind of fits into this world. But so this other encounter, man, why don't you get into that and read that for our audience? So
Cool. All right. So this was sent to me to read, and this happened and if anybody knows the proper pronunciation of this and I butchered, I'm truly sorry.
good
But
luck.
it's the Matanuska Valley, Alaska.
That sounds right.
Well, I hope so. This story starts as my encounter took place many years ago. I've had the faintest explanation for it until a couple of months ago when I randomly stumbled across Dogman on the internet. I was in my early 20s working swing shifts at the time and about 100 miles each way. Whew, I know what that's like.
That's a lot.
84 miles for me one way when I used to work
That's
up in
a lot,
Seattle.
man.
Let's see here. So it was usually around 2 a.m. in the morning by the time I got home. I saw the monster, as I called it, on the northernmost section of Trunk Road in Manta. See, I said
It's
Matanuska
good.
Valley, in Alaska. This area is almost smack in between the towns of Palmer and Wasilla. Wasilla. I was only about 10 miles from home at this point, so it must have been around 2 a.m. Trunk Road is a narrow 2-lane road consisting of nothing but twists and turns. The surrounding terrain is somewhat swampy and thick with black spruce. It was late October, days before Halloween. Okay, the setting of that is just crazy right now.
Isn't it?
There was no snow on the ground, but it was cold enough for me to be wary of ice. I was driving a 1982 Subaru station wagon going about 20 miles an hour around the curve when my headlights caught a large dark figure up ahead. I'm bad at judging distance, maybe 6 car lengths ahead. I instinctively let off the gas, coasting closer. At first, I assumed it was a moose, as the area is infested with them. But no, it was standing upright. Bear? No, not a bear. It looked so strange. Tall enough to be an uncommonly large bear, but far too slender, and it looked like it had spikes running down its neck and back. A Halloween prop. It was an odd but effective place for one. All of those thoughts ran through my head in a fraction of a second. The car was still coasting closer, and I could see more detail. It was standing in profile, gazing across the road. I could clearly see its wolfish muzzle, large, upright ears, and spikes on its back. They were actually, in fact, clumps of fur. Its spine curved in a smooth, very natural-looking way. It was standing in the ditch, inches from the pavement. Because I was focused on its upper body, I do not recall anything about its back legs, or if it had a tail. I did see its front legs, though, very doggy-looking, hanging awkwardly down and slightly towards its front, exactly like you'd expect to see a dog if it was standing upright. While it clearly had a canine look, there was still something off about it that I just could not articulate. It was perfectly still, and at this point, given the proximity of Halloween, I was quite convinced it was some sort of Halloween prop because it was clearly not anything of existing animals that I have encountered. I was deeply impressed and gently stepped on my brakes, intending to stop and examine it closely. Then it turned its head towards me. In the tiny fraction of a second that it took for it to swivel its head, I knew I had made a terrible mistake. The fluidness of its movement removed any and all doubt that this was some kind of prop. It was horribly, terrifyingly alive. The pale, off-white glow of its eyeshine in the headlights destroyed any possibility of a human in costume. I think I sat there gaping at it in shock for a few seconds. The car barely moved by now, but still inched closer. As I was almost upon it, I think I could have leaned forward and touched it could have leaned forward and touched the car if it had wanted to. I had to look up to see its face. Again, I am a bad judge of things, but I'm 5'4", and this was a hell of a lot taller than me. Tall, like a polar bear standing. 7 feet, 8 feet? I really can't say. I snapped out of my trance and slammed on the gas. The car fishtailed as I prepared myself for a death by monster, as I was certain I would end up in the ditch. But the tires caught the pavement and I drove like a complete maniac all the way back home. I did not look back. I've only been on that section of a road a few times since, never alone and never in the dark. For the next several years of driving that commute, I went 20 miles out of my way to avoid Trunk Road. The thing never made any aggressive moves, but there was something about it that felt very, well, predatory. I've never seen anything remotely like that again. Have never heard any stories about anything like that in the area. This is my story. Melissa H. 2 a.m., December 27th, 1998.
Can you blame her for driving 20 miles out of the way?
Nope.
Not at all.
I would have quit my job. I'd have got a new job.
Yeah. I've never been to Alaska, but I've got family from there. And some of these roads they talk about, it's just miles of nothing. And,
Yeah.
like, I don't blame her for doing that. But I think, like, there's something different about these things when they look at you. Like there's nothing there, just blackness. They talk about that. And, you know, I mean, this thing could have just easily, you know, reached out and grabbed her, but I think they thrive on that. It's not, it's the fear factor, I think, you know? And so it's pretty scary, man. I don't know. Those things scare me.
Yep. Nope. I have no time for that.
No thanks, man. No thank you. No thank you. So Sean Russ is here, man. Thanks for being here, buddy. I know he says a little late, but hey, better late than never. So let's see here. Got a lot of comments. So Amanda Sue just found the channel. So awesome. Glad that you are here.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're excited to be doing this, guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying these lives. But just a couple housekeeping things. If you don't know, for the whole month of June, if you become a member, $2.99 or above, my wife has made a gift package for you guys just for being members, just to say we appreciate y'all and thanks for all the support. So make sure if you do join that you email me and give me your address so we can get that out to you. We're going to be sending those out towards the end of the month. So don't worry if you joined earlier in the month, you've not seen anything yet. We'll make sure to send you an email to let you know your package is on its way. And we're waiting until everybody kind of gets through this month and then we'll send them out. So this podcast would not be in existence without you guys. And so I appreciate the support and hopefully you guys are enjoying these lives. Me and Daniel just come on here and have a good fun, you know, just fun, just have a good time and get some information out there and read some stories for you guys. And if you've got a story you want to send me and you want it to be read on the live or you want to come on the show, you can email me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. How's the water, man?
It's delicious. Like my mama said, it's cool, refreshing water.
My coffee's almost gone, man. I'm just about out. That ain't good.
Monica's Channel Truth. I do too. I've seen them before and heard about them. You guys, anybody in the chat, if you have seen, experienced, even have someone in your family that has seen, experienced a past storyline, please email us at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, let us know. We want to know. We want to know. So I definitely want to take a second because my wife will never come on here and she'll never say anything. But guys, I wouldn't be doing this without my wife. So I have to just give her a shout out and say thanks for the support because I just couldn't do this without her. For one, it takes time. It's time away from the family. She's been really cool about it. Daniel's wife has been cool about it. I think our wives laugh at us, but
they do.
You know, that's a whole other thing. Like I know that my wife could see a Bigfoot walk out in front of her, and we've talked about this, but our wives would think we paid somebody to do that just because, you know, they're not believers. But anyways, I just wanted to give a shout out to her. She's never going to come on here and say anything, but it would not happen without her. So I love you, babe. Thanks for the support. So anyways, so we got a lot more comments.
I'm seeing a lot. I'm seeing new names jumping.
Brand new names, and we love that people are on here. That you guys are jumping on the podcast and comment. I know we've got over 70 people watching right now, so we're just excited to be doing this. We don't have a schedule set yet. We just kind of do this as we can when we can. But if you want to have your story read on the live, Daniel does a great job with that. He's better at that than I am. But you know, we're just hoping to give you guys a safe platform to talk and to get, you know, if you've had an encounter, it can be traumatizing that you get that off your chest. But anyways, so
I just want to give a big shout out to Adam and Monica's and Amanda. And I think I saw someone else in the chat.
Adam's from Australia.
Is he?
So we got some, thanks for being here from Australia, man.
Sean
That's
Rush.
awesome.
Hello. I'm not gonna insult you and try to do it an Australian accent. You know, I would pay your way to come over and punch me in the mouth if I did something stupid like that.
Oh, see, I bet you could do it. I bet you could.
No,
thanks for the shout.
No, not even gonna try.
I bet you could. Bigfoot Society says subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any lives on this channel. Thanks for that, man. Guys, if you love this
Kimberly
channel,
Morgan, that's another new person. Kimberly Morgan.
Awesome. Glad you're here, Kimberly. But listen, if you love this, you're going to love Bigfoot Society's channel. Make sure to go check him out, subscribe, listen, he's got some amazing encounters on there. Does some cool stuff. So guys, go check him out. So hey,
Paul Vickroy. Where are you at in Minnesota, my man? Where are you from? And then I'll tell you where I'm from. Minnesota, yeah, sure. Oofta. Oh yeah.
Let's see. Hey guys, I'm new. Just recently found you and really like to stay prayed up. Well, I'll tell you the story behind that. Taff the Wanderer, he's generally the first person on the chat, and he was the very first person to come on my show and wouldn't be doing this podcast probably at all if he hadn't just pushed me to keep doing it. But anyways, we were talking one night and I was like, I need to find something to say at the end of the show. And I don't know what to say. And he didn't give me the suggestion, but it was like the next show or the show after, it just came out of my mouth. And I was like, stay prayed up. And it just makes sense, with this stuff, you guys want to stay prayed up. So, that's why I say that at the end of every show. And I really do mean it. But a lot of new faces, a lot of new people, man.
Well, you've got your stay prayed up. I got my thing going. This is my thing. Ready?
Yeah. That's good.
And a point. So, where are you at? Where are you at? I missed it. Okay, Paul. So you're Zimmerman. I know where Zimmerman is, man. I'm in White Bear Lake. I'm not far from you.
Don't know where any of these places are at.
North of Elk River, south of Princeton. I know exactly where that is. I know exactly where you're at.
It's a small world, isn't it? It's funny.
It is, man. And it's cool. We got Paul's like my neighbor. And I wanted to give a big thank you, big shout out to War Chief. Every single person that has popped into the chat to say hi, make a comment, he has said hello to them. He has welcomed them. So, hey, War Chief, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, he's a member. He's always here, always supports the channel. So I appreciate all the support. And he said that you could read his encounter. He's got a really crazy encounter. Answer me real quick before I have him read that, War Chief. I would love for you to come on the show and share that. Are you cool with him reading it and then coming on the show and sharing it? Let me know. Leave me a comment to let me know. And if you're cool with it, I'm going to send that over to Daniel and have him read it. If you'll come on the show and talk about it. So let me know. I'd
be honored to read it. I'd be honored to read it.
Hey, it's crazy. It's really, it's pretty wild. So, these things definitely change your life, man. Like if you have an encounter, I've had an encounter, and one of these days, I'm going to let Daniel interview me about my encounters, because it's a lot more fun to do it that way than me just sit here and tell you guys about my encounter. So we're going to set that up and drop that in one of the episodes, or maybe even a live. You guys don't want to miss Monday's post. I'm going to be dropping a really incredible episode. Joe, he's not here tonight. He generally pops in on the chat, but he's from Alaska, and he's got some crazy stuff he's going to talk about from his time in Alaska when he was in military police in his early 20s, some stuff that happened to him, some vocalizations in the area on a glacier. He actually goes out and gives guides on glaciers and stuff. But anyways, what we're going to try to do is after the show on Monday, we're going to try to have him on, and you guys can maybe ask him some questions, and then talk about it a little bit more, because this one's pretty wild. So I drop a new episode every Monday at 11 o'clock, 11 to 11:30. And, if you love this stuff, you want to help me and Daniel to keep doing these more and more, make sure to like, subscribe, share, all that stuff that just kind of helps push this channel out there. But anyways, still waiting on him to say something.
So you said Adam is from Australia, right?
Yeah.
Adam, have you seen, or have anybody that is has seen the Yowie? Because I would love to hear some stories about the Yowie, honestly.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool. I'd love to hear that.
Hey, Bo, thanks. Did you hear me reading your accounts?
He commented about it. I think he really liked your accent. He liked your accent. So, when you read that to me with that accent, I was blown away. I had no idea that you could do that. It floored me. I was not expecting that at all, man. Not at all. But anyways, but let us know, guys, what you guys want to hear for the next live. Anything at all you want to send us, just email us and let us know. and we'll do our best to get it out there to you guys. But I'm still waiting to hear back from more, Chief. Haven't heard anything yet. Let me check my email, see if he emailed me. So let's see.
It's funny. I wish my cousin was still alive, but my cousin pretty much lived in Alaska, was a fisherman up there, owned a couple fishing boats and stuff, and he just passed away last year. And he's not saying it was a Bigfoot. He's not saying, but he did mention the Wendigo. And pretty much what the story was. And again, I wish I could have written it down or get a hold of him for him to tell me. But he said he was out hunting one time, and he heard something from behind him, and he turns around and he sees something standing like in the pathway, like a trail that he had come hiking on in, and he just saw it standing there, and they just made eye contact, and he just stood there for a second, and then he said he got this really just feeling about him, so he raised up his rifle, and it just like sprinted off into the woods and was gone. So
that's pretty scary, man. I don't know. I don't know much about the Wendigo and that in the Skinwalker stuff, man. That really freaks me out, man. Those two things. I don't know, man. I was talking to a Native American, and he actually was on the show early on. I don't remember when it was. It was like the fourth episode. And, in their culture, they say, you're not supposed to whistle at night off the front porch or anywhere at night because of those things. And they won't really talk about it. He's like, I'll talk about Bigfoot, anything, but I won't talk about a Skinwalker. And so, I've not really ever got into that much. I've watched a little bit of the Skinwalker Ranch and stuff, but it's pretty crazy stuff, man.
There's a lot of people in the chat that have been talking about Alaska. So anybody has been who is currently living in Alaska or has spent any amount of time, and I'm not talking like 2 weeks in Alaska, I'm not a month. I'm talking like any amount of time. I mean, like Marlene, she lived in Anchorage for 12 years. Have any of you heard of the Kushtaka?
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Because
it's kind of funny that we have a. Go ahead, buddy.
My dad had 2 encounters with what all he could say was the Kushtaka. And I remember when he told me about it, he's like, yeah, the Kushtaka. He's like, he's part otter and he's part man. And I started laughing. I big full belly laughed at my dad. I'm like, you're so full of crap. I think I was like 17 or 18. I was in tears. I was laughing so hard. And then I just looked at his face, and he had this look on his face like, I'm not playing games with you. And see, there you go. See, people know. I'll have to tell that story. Those 2
You'll
stories.
have to, man. You'll have to. It's such there's so many weird things out there. Once you and a lot of people get introduced to this through Bigfoot, right? Like that's kind of what happens. And then you just kind of figure out there's a lot more to it. And, my whole thinking on it, this is just my opinion, guys. This is just my opinion. I think that, they're fallen angels that can shapeshift, that can take different forms, like things like that, because nothing else makes sense to me. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's kind of what I think. But, it's just either a Nephilim, something like that. It's definitely more than flesh and blood, whatever these things are. I don't know. But it's pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. But I'd love to hear that sometime, man, that story sometime.
Let's see. I know I've never heard of it before, but I've heard it last. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna write that down right now and look that up, Marlene.
Look it up. It's kind of it's funny to me they have so many people here from Alaska when that episode tomorrow is about that. So that's kind of strange, but I hope you guys are enjoying this live tonight. It's a little bit different. I'm on the road. I'm traveling, so I'm not my normal setup, and thankfully my internet has not quit on me and things are working. But let us know the kind of things you want to hear about on these lives and what you like and what you don't like. But Bigfoot Society says start digging into Prince of Wales Island if you want to find some wild Bigfoot encounters in Alaska. Definitely something we need to look into, man. Definitely
Got it written.
something.
Got it written
Write
down.
it down. Listen, Daniel's the researcher. He finds all this information, man. Like he puts together a lot of good stuff, a lot of information. And, normally we plan these about a week out, I think, something like that. But we wanted to get something out for you guys tonight. And we really are very humbled by the support and, glad you guys are hanging out with us on these lives. They're just fun. Brings a different element. So let's see. Christopher says we're on the same page with these creatures. Yeah, I definitely think so, man. I think so.
Kimberly,
yeah,
absolutely, Kimberly.
100%. I believe that 100%. Use the name of Jesus and plead the blood. Listen, I 100% believe in that. And I had a guy from North Carolina, wild encounter. I've talked about it a lot because it's such a strange encounter, but he was camping with his dad, and he was probably my age when this happened, I think maybe, and his dad was there and then his two kids. So they were out camping, had heard about these encounters in this area. And so they went out there, and he said they were laying down in this tent, and he saw these blue eyes. I think it were blue eyes, and standing outside of his tent. And he said they just kept coming closer. And he said that this thing leaned in and cocked its head, looked at him, straightened its head back out, and then came back up, right? Well, the next thing you know, standing there, there's another set of blue eyes, and they're shorter, they're smaller. And so he said that basically the atmosphere changed, and there's just this fear. And he said the next thing you know, they disappeared, and then there's two orbs above them in the tent. And his dad, and they had guns. Of course, guns aren't going to do any good with something like that. And so his dad, called on the name of Jesus, prayed, and then they were just gone. But what was weird about it, man, is he said that when they left the next day or later that night, I don't know, I can't remember exactly all the details, but his dad said, "Did you see the faces in those orbs?" And he didn't, but his dad saw like an evil looking face and then a smaller face in these orbs. And you just what do you do with that? What do you do with that? So
Mr. McDuff put a comment here. Red hair, Bigfoot, red hair, giant, red hair, humans. I find that kind of funny because, again, I have a friend of mine that has red hair, and you hear people call people with red hair soulless gingers or the soulless ones. And I don't think that, but it just caught me funny that, Mr. McDuffie said that, like there's some correlation between. So, but,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
No. But
everybody is in here, in the name of, absolutely, you guys, in the name of Jesus.
That's the key. That is the key. That is the key to all this, right? And that's why I think that this is it's so important. And that's why, listen, I'm not trying to push what I believe on anybody, right? But I'm always going to sit and talk about it on this channel. And that's just what I'm going to do. Like, I have to, because that's what's kept me through my whole life. And so, this channel is about Bigfoot, about cryptoids. It's about, Dogman, all these encounters. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you plead the blood of Jesus over your family, your loved ones. You pray every day. You pray about these things, and that's the key. So, not to get preachy, but that is the key. So, but man, we got a lot of comments though. A lot of people commenting.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Duffy 81. I know I keep wanting to say Mr. McDuffie. I don't know why, but I don't know why. But no, 100%. And we got a new person here. Is it Juliet? Is that how you say it? It's about. Oh, hold on. Let me write that down.
I'm giving some stuff to research.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
In Paraguay. And Argentina.
But we got a lot of stuff. But here's the thing. When it comes to Bigfoot, and I would love to know the numbers and facts on this, how many encounters there are that are correlated with orbs and all these other things. But a lot of these people, man, they see a Bigfoot, then they see orbs, they see strange lights, all these other things. And it makes you wonder why. Like, what is the deal with that, But anyways,
I wish I can say that, the sightings that I had, well, again, I had multiple sightings of what I believe to be a family unit because of the area that I lived at my first sighting. Now I've had encounters before that and I had encounters after that. But in any instances that I had encounters or sightings, I never ever saw any type of any orbs. I just haven't.
I don't know.
Kevin,
Hey, yeah, I'm going to answer that question. So
yeah, me
he
too.
says, what do you think about the Bigfoot video taken from the train? Hey, this is me. I think it's fake. I really do.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's real. I don't think that that's their behavior to sit like that. I just don't, man. I don't. What do you think, Daniel?
No, I agree. And, I actually saw something about that is actually was a hoax.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. People who videotaped it had nothing to do with the hoax.
No, they didn't know.
It was somebody who knew a train was coming by, or they know the train schedule, whatever, and said, "Hey, in this area, let's play a prank on people." And honestly, I think that's what it was, because, like you said, they're not going to sit out in the open unless there's something that they can do,
right?
Like maybe some fallen trees, some stumps, something like that. Because you see a lot of times where people will be, glassing an area, especially hunters. They'll be glassing an area, looking, along ridge lines, down slopes or whatnot, and they catch something out of their eye, and they'll just stare at it, and then they'll look away, and then it's gone. Like the absolute, or they'll see it stand up, and they think it was a stump at one time. So
yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. I unfortunately, you have hoaxers out there that always just make it harder on other people that actually have these encounters. And I hate that, because it makes me wonder how many people have encounters and they're not coming forward with it. They're just keeping it to themselves because they don't want to face the ridicule. And, that's what we're trying to change. And because it's important to get the stuff off your chest. Cause man, if you don't talk about it, you kind of feel it helps when you find somebody else that can understand what you've been through. It really, really does help. So,
yeah. I see Laura put a comment in here. I've never heard of encounters in Tennessee where the cabins are. Is this due to high traffic travelers? Or now, if you're talking about Eastern Tennessee, there's sightings in Eastern Tennessee. Absolutely.
A lot.
One of the hardest encounters for me to talk about, I've only told Josh one time, and it's on here if you guys want to see it. Especially with what the anniversary yesterday was.
Man.
It's not something I really want to bring up and talk in depth about, but that happened in Shelby County, Tennessee. And then there was another time, I want to say we were close to McNairy County, Tennessee. Me and my brother just used to go and drive, and he drove a 76 Lincoln Continental. And this is after I got out of the military. Now, again, I'm not saying it was a Sasquatch. My brother did not say it was Sasquatch. We pulled off to the side of the road. We pulled off into like some dirt road or whatever, just to get some sleep, because we were both just dog tired. And probably about 2 hours into our sleep, something just hit the snot out of the back end of the trunk of his car. And you could see like a handprint, but it wasn't so clear. You're thinking, oh, that's a Bigfoot handprint, but it hit it so hard, and you felt the back of the car go down. And then, we kind of got up and we're like, what the heck's going on? And, I reach in the glove compartment and pull out something. And then, he pulls out a flashlight, and we just look. We didn't see anything. We didn't smell anything, but that was it. But it woke us up enough to like, we're leaving. And we just drove off. So
no, that was a good decision to leave. That was the right thing to do. I don't know, man. It's such a weird world. I don't know what to do with a lot of these things. And, I don't try to claim to be an expert. try to get on here and talk about it. And I'm learning from other people's. I'm learning from you guys, from y'all's experiences and Daniel's experiences. He's had way more than I have. But let's see.
Hey, Marlene, are you talking? Your friend talking about Coffee County, Tennessee, the witch Sadie Baker? Is that what they saw? Because I've heard about I've heard about that. Not in big detail, but I've heard about that. So,
man, I don't know. A lot of strange things, guys, but just we're so appreciative that you guys are here, that you guys are involved in the chat, and you guys are sharing some of these encounters with us. Let's see. Got some more questions. Why do you guys think? Hang on. Let me pull it up. Why do you guys think there are chilled Bigfoots and very aggressive ones? Any thoughts? Here's my thoughts. I think and I don't like to use this terminology, but I think they're like people in a sense to where you run into the wrong person, they've got an attitude, and you run into somebody else in a different situation, you're going to be okay. I think it really just depends. It depends on where they're at. It depends on a lot of different factors. And I know down here in the South, they seem to be more aggressive. They seem to be really territorial. But also your experiences, Daniel, in Washington State, man, they were very territorial. They let you know they were there. I don't want to use the word.
When I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't want to use the word.
Josh, no, you use the word because they were aggressive.
And they knocked your trailer off the camper off the blocks.
Well, I'm talking about the one where we were out at the what we call the hunting camp when I was just a kid,
that one.
9 years old.
That one is, guys. That one is terrifying, and these things are not your friend. I don't think. No, not at all. Why they're different there than they are somewhere else, who knows, man? Kevin, I don't know. I really don't know. But I mean, what do you do with that other than the fact that they are different depending on where you are, maybe in the time of year and what's going on. And maybe they're territorial and they have, I don't even like to use the words family, but maybe they have family members close and they don't want you getting close to them. I don't know. But it is really, really strange.
Laura, you asked, do you think it's because they heard the shooting? Okay, we went to a camp we called the hunting camp, but we weren't hunting. My dad and my uncle and some of my uncle's friends had probably hunted there many, many times before. This was the first time that I was there, and I honestly believe because we were shooting 22s, and I also shot a 44 Magnum when I was a kid. I was 9 years old. And I could barely hold it. But we heard the first yell, or it wasn't a scream. It was a howl or a yell. Shortly after we got done shooting the 22, we probably popped off maybe 50 to 100 rounds total. And we were just shooting at nothing really, and that's when we heard the first howl, the first yell. And we weren't sure what it was. We really weren't, and then the next following day, the next 2 days, all hell broke loose. So, but
yeah,
you mentioned, go ahead.
I was just say they need to go back and listen to that one. I'll try to find that and drop it in the link of this video. It'll probably be tomorrow before I can, but I'll try to find that one for you guys and drop it. It's really scary, guys. It's fortunate that you had your family there with you and that they were, trained like they were, man, because that got really, really, really scary.
It was my dad, my uncle. It was two of my uncle's neighbors and another friend of his. We called the Frenchman or Frenchie. Mm-hmm. And then it was his two neighbors' sons. So there was two other boys and then me and my younger brother. So I was the second oldest one of the boys, I believe. And then the other two were younger than us. But I remember. That's
you'll never forget that, man. You'll never forget that.
But again, I'm not saying that 100% it was a Sasquatch. I'm not.
Right. But
after everything. Go ahead.
Well, what else is going to do that?
Exactly. Yeah. I never saw anything. Like I never saw a creature or a figure but
Right.
before we got to the trucks, my dad's like, I got one over here, I got two over here. My uncle's like, I got one over here, and
Man,
they start popping off with their rifles, so
it's crazy, man. That's really scary. I'll tell you another scary encounter. And if you go look, it's from West Virginia, I believe. And I'm struggling to remember his name. I am terrible with names, guys, but somebody mentioned it in the comments. Basically, he was a kid and he had a bunch of forts out in the woods and he urinated all over their trees, the trees out there. And this thing followed him home, chased him home. And the way he describes it, man, it is so scary. This thing reached out for him, grabbed him, clawed his back. He got away. He was just a kid. So he got into the house and basically his dad was a really bad man and would write hot checks. And when they would get in trouble, they would just move. And so basically they had a little bitty back porch for him that had it was glass like all glass. Yep. And he said his dad made him sleep in that back room all night long. Yep. And he said he could hear this thing breathing outside of his house all night long, scratching at the ground, scratching at the windows. As a parent, how do you do that? But anyways, I don't understand that, but it absolutely traumatized him. And he's a great guy. And I hopefully he's going to come back on the show and share more. But man, when you have these kind of encounters and these things, it traumatizes you, and especially that as a kid. And, one of these days, mine's nothing like that. My encounter is nothing like that, but we're going to set it up where Daniel and me can sit and talk about that.
Bro,
and maybe we'll do a whole episode.
Your encounter, I don't care what you say, your encounter, not the one with you and your wife, but the one when you were 14 years old, that, man, that was scary.
Let me know if you guys want to hear that. Drop a 1 in the comments if you want to hear that, and I'll share that. Just that one. I've got several that happened, but if you want to hear that, I'll talk about it. It's not Daniel. Yours doesn't count, man. Yours does not count. That doesn't count.
So, I'm just trying to get it started.
Oh man, it's a members. I have it listed as a members only video on my channel because I put it out there, and I don't want to make this channel about me.
Chief.
I know. I try to. That's great. I guess I'll have to tell it now.
Yeah. See, there you go.
I know, right? Well, I've tried my best, guys, to make this not about me.
Hey, I got to bow real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. So when I started this thing, I didn't know what to do. And my wife is like, just let people tell their stories and don't interrupt them. She's like, just get on there and let them tell their stories. And so I've always just tried to make it about you guys and the encounters. But, so I guess I'll just start, and hopefully my co-host comes back. Anyways, so we grew up really poor. My dad is my hero, and I guess it's kind of fitting to talk about this on Father's Day. He's the biggest man I've ever met, and not necessarily in stature, but just as a person. Taught me everything I know and made me who I am today. And he's my hero. I love my dad, but he did everything he could to provide for his family. He worked really hard and he took care of us. And how he did this to this day, I have no idea. But he bought some land, and he built a house. Pretty much built this house by himself. And where I grew up at, it was really close to one of the national forests, really rural area at the time. Still kind of rural, but not so much today. And anyways, I was about 14 years old, and I don't remember exact time of year, but it had to be sometime in the winter because it got dark pretty early. And I was about the age when my parents would leave me home alone and stuff, started to do that. And we hunted a lot. So I knew, we had shotguns, and we spent a lot of time in the woods. And so my dad built this house, 2-story house, and there was a sliding glass door that faced the back of the property. And it was probably 20 to 30 feet from the back door. Hey, you came back.
I did.
Okay, cool. Glad you came back. Didn't leave me hanging. You wouldn't do that though, right?
I wouldn't do that. What's going on?
Okay.
What are y'all talking about now?
Well, we're talking about my encounter. So I'm getting to the point where I'm describing the house. And so basically the ground sloped down. So there was a slope, and the front of the house was even, and then you walk to the back and the ground just kept sloping down. So my dad built this deck out behind the house, and we had sliding glass windows. And I don't remember what time it was, but it was dark. And back behind my house, there was trees. There was a huge pasture, railroad tracks, and more trees. Like, it was very, very rural. We had a neighbor to the left, neighbor to the right. The neighbor on the right owned horses, and spent a lot of time outside. I knew the area. I spent so much time out there as a kid that I knew everything out there. We had deer and we had some bear, but that's really all you're going to see out there. So anyways, I'm walking by this window. The blinds are open and there's no lights back there, but the moon's out and you can see the whole backyard. And something catches my attention, and I just felt like I needed to stop. And now I will say this, it took me years and years and years. I buried this thing. I absolutely buried it. And it wasn't until me and my wife saw something years later that it just triggered that memory in my head. And I buried this. So I'm walking, something tells me to stop. And I look out the window and I see this black figure step out of the tree line, and it just kind of steps out. Like, all I remember is it's stepping out and it's coming closer and it stops. And this thing, to see out the window and the porch, was 6 foot off the ground. This thing was above that. I could see above that. And so I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and all I could see was this black silhouette, and it was just solid black. And I locked eyes with this thing, and we stood there for I don't know how long. I looked at it, and it looked at me. It didn't move. I didn't move. And I'm standing there not knowing what to do. And all of a sudden, I just felt like I needed to go get my dad's shotgun. Why that thought popped into my head, I don't know. But I felt like I needed to. So I went and got my dad's shotgun, and I come back, and this thing is still standing there looking at me. And so I thought, because I remember my dad talking about, if anybody sees you with a shotgun, especially if they hear it, you load it, they're not going to mess with you. So it was a single barrel 410 shotgun. I grabbed a buckshot, put it in there, chambered it, held this thing, and this thing stopped really slow, and it just turned around, and almost like it floated back into the wood line, and it was gone. And that was all there was to it. I was scared to death to go into the woods by myself after that. I never told my mom. I never told my dad till years and years and years later, because I'd buried this. But yeah, that was pretty much the first time I had an encounter. And it took me a very, very long time to talk about it. And it took me a long time to even remember that had happened. But something later on that I'll talk about another time that happened that just triggered all these memories, and it just come flooding back. And so pretty wild stuff, man. But it's crazy, though, is the area that I lived at. My dad had a UFO encounter. We talked about the last live. Yeah. That encounter happened probably less than within a 5-mile radius of where this encounter happened. And so I have had 3 encounters in that whole area in a 5-mile radius in that area. It's where I grew up at. And yeah, that was it.
Well, let me ask you this. From the time that happened to when you first like told that story, how much time had gone between?
So it really, the first time I ever talked about it to anybody other than my dad, and I think I mentioned it to my dad probably 4 years later, and we had moved at that point. We'd moved from the property. But I didn't talk about it again until around about the time I started this channel. And so how many years? Oh, geez. Well, I was 14. I'm 45 now. I've had the channel for a year. So yeah, a long time. Years.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten about it. And I know that sounds stupid. Like, it sounds like, well, how could you forget that? But your brain will bury trauma in order to protect yourself. Yep. I know that from law enforcement. The other day, I told you, I had a case pop up in my head that I had forgotten about, and it tortured me. I woke up out of bed, dead sweat, PTSD, traumatized because of a case I'd worked that I had forgotten completely all about. And
Dude,
so
you and I had long conversations that day.
long, like, yeah. And what do you do with that? Right. And you helped me through that. My wife helped me through that. It's just one of these things, like, your body will bury trauma. And so when somebody comes on the show and they're like, they get criticized because why did you wait 20 years to talk about it? Well, it's because sometimes your body traumatizes you and you don't remember, or sometimes you're not ready to talk about it. But it's pretty wild. So how tall? I would say that it was at least 9, 8, 9. It was like a linebacker. It was massive. And the thing of it is at that point in time, I didn't know what Bigfoot was. I had no idea. I had no idea. I thought Bigfoot was the monster truck. Like, I really legitimately did. I didn't know really at that point what it was. I think I'd seen a movie about, I'm going to get in trouble for this because I never can remember, here in Arkansas, Legend of Boggy Creek. When I was younger, around the same time, I'd seen that kind of movie, but it just, it was crazy. So how were the next few weeks for you? I don't really remember. That's the thing, is I don't remember. I remember being scared to go in the woods. I remember knowing something was there that I didn't understand, but I told my dad everything at that point in time. Like, we were, I always told my dad everything, but yeah, I didn't tell him, and I didn't tell Mom till recently, cause she'd have been petrified, anyways, but it's just, that's the first part of my story.
Okay, good. All right. Cause I want to interview you for the second part.
Yeah. We'll do an episode.
You guys, the second part, I'm telling you right now, if you think that one was scary or kind of, I don't know, put you on the edge of your seat, the second part of this story, boy,
I tell you, what gets me is they're all connected. It's weird. It's connected with a UFO. It's all connected, and it's so strange. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, we still have people listening, so I guess I didn't run everybody off. So that's good. I don't like to talk about my encounter very often. I just don't like to, because this podcast isn't about me, guys. It's about y'all. And, I know what it's like to tell that and for people to not believe you, especially your loved ones. It's like, anyways, it's hopefully, we can give you guys a safe platform to share your encounters. So if you've had one, I shared mine, so make sure to send me an email and share yours. So,
well, we talked about the time frame. It was like 30 years it's 33 years for me. When I told my, but again, I held a lot of things close, to my chest, because I didn't know how that was going to be perceived. I didn't know how that was going to be taken. And I had some pretty scary ones before that, but again, it wasn't a definite what it was until after I started, again, I'm going to name drop here. So, Sasquatch Chronicles,
absolutely.
And the confessionals, or things like that, where I'd listened to tons of them, and I've been on 3 other podcasts, telling that story. But everything that I told you here, I haven't told the other ones. I've only told one story on Sasquatch Chronicles, but you guys understand that those were other outlets or other, banks of communication and banks of information that I was able to tap into and hear all these other accounts from people. And like, holy smokes, that happened to me. Yeah. Holy smokes, that. And a lot of times I didn't want to believe that's what I had dealt with,
Well, no, you don't want to, because it's like, it's not supposed to be there. And so, I can remember the very first time that I saw a video of something that I know I saw. And for me, it was like, I'm not crazy. Okay. I'm not crazy. Like, there's been other people like me that have seen these things. And that's kind of what prompted me. One of the things that prompted me to kind of start this whole thing. And, thank goodness for places like Sasquatch Chronicles and, all the other ones that are great out there that, been doing this a lot longer than I have, that, that give people a safe platform to talk about that stuff. But I don't know, man. It's a wild world. It's really strange. We'll talk about part 2, man. I think what we'll do probably is set it up and drop it as an episode instead of a live, and probably do something like that. I think that would be really good, and just that way we can take our time with it. But Flower Child Deb says I would be scared to death and screaming. Well, I mean, yeah. And then let's see, somebody else says, I'm glad you grabbed the shotgun. It's hard to become unfrozen. My whole life, and I think that's because, I don't know, God must have given me that ability, because, I mean, I spent 16 years in law enforcement. I don't freeze. That's not how I respond to trauma, and I never have. And so it had to be something he gave me, because a lot of people do. And it's just a human, that's just what it's either fight or flight type of a thing. And so, anyways, 100%. So that's it. That's enough about me.
Amanda has a question.
Okay.
Probably be able to answer that better.
Are you able to call with our stories so we don't have to top it? Sure. Yeah, definitely. If you will email me, send me your information, we'll definitely reach out. I love hearing about these encounters and stuff, and then we can, get it out there for you guys. And actually, I think that's how Bo and Daniel did. They kind of correlated that way and got the story out there. But somebody says, okay, Marlene says, would love to hear part 2 of your experiences. We definitely will. We definitely will. So it's coming. We'll work on that and get that out there. But man, we've been over 2 hours, man. I'm out of coffee. It's getting late. Longest one yet. This has been great, guys. We appreciate all the support.
And 86, we had 86 viewers tonight. That was awesome.
I know, that's awesome. Like this is a really cool community. I love the community that we're building out, and love that everybody's in the chat. Everybody hops on and they talk to us. We love that. And so we appreciate the support. Appreciate every one of you guys. Remember, for the whole month of June, if you become a member, $2.99 or above, the very end of the month, my wife is going to be sending out a care package, a welcome package that she's put together for you guys, just to say thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of this community. Let's see. Flower Child says, my UFO encounter scared me to death. I changed completely, anxiety through the roof, and I was always afraid. You sent that to me, so I will make sure to get back to you. We might put that on the next live that we do. Yeah, that's true. I probably wouldn't have been able to move if I got a full dose of it. I'm thankful I didn't, because obviously, that didn't happen. And so with your encounter, I know that some of these you just freeze. There's nothing you can do. So I think everybody's is different. But so, hey, we're the only podcast that Flower Child Deb has ever joined. That's really cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But guys, make sure to like, subscribe. Thanks for being here. But that's all I got. You got anything, Daniel?
I don't. Well, War Chief said something about infrasound, and I think the one that I shared you with my brother and I that happened in Shelby County.
Yeah,
I think we were both hit with infrasound.
Yeah.
So much so that I think it brought us to our knees. So
it will, man. It'll mess you up, and
it made us sick.
Yeah, it does. It makes you sick, and I'm so grateful that didn't happen to me. I really am so grateful, because I was very fortunate that I didn't. That didn't happen to me. So let's see. Oh, hang on. You got to read this comment from Bo.
You see, the funny thing is, and this funny thing that you just bring that up, Bo. And again, you guys, I lost my brother 8 years ago yesterday. And one of the magnificent things about my little brother is that he spoke fluent Japanese.
That's cool.
And he spoke it because he was bored. He wanted to learn languages.
That's so great.
Bored. So
that's great. That's hilarious, man. Well, listen, I'm glad you made it through yesterday. You got a lot of support, a lot of people praying for you, man. And I'm glad you're good, man. I'm glad you're good.
Nice.
All right, guys, y'all are awesome. We don't know when the next live is going to be. We just kind of pop these up whenever.
It'll be like 2 weeks. It'll be next week, probably.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows, man? We love doing these and have a lot of fun doing them. So, hopefully you guys can sleep after some of the stories we talked about. And you know I'm going to say it. I got to say it before I get off here, guys. Stay prayed up. It's so important to stay prayed up. So I'm out, man. You good?
I'm good, you guys.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for being here.
Yep. Hey, don't forget to email us, guys.
Yep. Email us. We'll see you soon.
Bye.